Hi, I'm Dylan, and I'm a local hedgehog champion. I've been asked by Stiga to spend just a few minutes today talking about using a strimmer in the garden and how we can help keep an eye out for our prickly friend, the hedgehog. So we're in the middle of summer here in the UK, so grass grows very quickly, and it's tempting just to grab the strimmer and cut back some of the long grass or areas which have grown a bit wild. However, before you do that, please make sure that you check whether you have hedgehogs in your garden. Long grass and wild patches are exactly the kind of places that hedgehogs may have made their home. Hedgehog numbers have declined massively in recent years, so much so that they're now on the red list as vulnerable to extinction. Unlike many creatures which run away from potential threats, the hedgehog just curls up in a ball and waits for the danger to pass. This means that they are much more likely to be injured or even killed as a result of strimming injuries. So here are just a few things that you can do to help hedgehogs survive. Number one is just to gently and carefully check through the area where you're going to be strimming. So if you just look over here, you can just gently do that with a stick in some of these larger areas. Just make sure there's no hedgehogs where you're planning to strim. And then in these grassy areas, you can just have a look through with your hand as well. So that's really important there. Also, you can look out for evidence that you may have hedgehogs in your garden. So there may be mounds of leaves and twigs, or you may even see some hedgehog poo, which looks a little bit like a dark slug. So once you've checked, you can safe to start strimming. You can just start to strim a little. And also then, as you move around the garden, just keep checking in different patches, just make sure there's no hedgehogs there. It may take a few minutes longer than normal to do some strimming, but it could make the difference between life and death for a hedgehog. So number two is that if you have disturbed a nest with a single adult as a result of gardening or something, make sure that you replace the nesting material and leave it alone. So the hedgehog will then either rebuild the nest, or they may decide to build another one somewhere else. If the nest have babies, so baby hedgehogs, hoglets, again, make sure that you replace the nesting material as quickly as possible. And do keep a careful eye to see if the mother hedgehog returns. Because sadly, if a nest with hoglets is disturbed, there's quite a high chance that the mum won't return. So do resist the temptation to disturb the nest further and call your nearest rescue centre for advice, even if the hoglets are on their own. And finally, number three is, if you do discover you have hedgehogs, please make sure that you put out a few shallow dishes of fresh water for them every night. In summer particularly, they can get very dehydrated quite quickly, and even in hibernation, so sort of any time from mid-October onwards, when the temperature drops below 5 degrees Celsius, they could still be out and about. So leave the water outside and perhaps some kitten biscuits or meaty cattle dog food as well. And a couple of final top tips. So if you have a pond in your garden, make sure that there's an escape route like a ramp for hedgehogs. Just help them escape and get out of the pond safely. And keep netting to a minimum and at least 1 foot up from the ground so that hedgehogs don't get tangled up in it. So thank you so much for doing your bit to help our hedgehogs by becoming hedgehog aware before you strim. And thank you to Stiga for making a difference.